Coach. Great to see you. You want to do an opener today, or you want to just go questions?
I'm good. We'll go to questions.
We're joined right now by the head coach of the Villanova Wildcats, Jay Wright. Coach Wright is ready for your questions right now. If you do have a question, we have our microphone stewards, Danny and Justin and Sierra and Joe. And we have the first question. So it's time for Justin to make a move toward the middle of the room. Please remember your name and media outlet and then your question.
Ralph Russo with the Associated Press. Jay, transfers get a lot of attention at this time of the year. I got a couple of questions I wondered if you could help me with. Do you have any policies regarding players transferring out of your program and where they might be allowed to go? The second part of that is, do you think college basketball, college sports would benefit from standardized NCAA rules?
Standardize NCAA rules regarding transfers. First, we don't have any policy with transfers. We try to treat every player as an individual, as a unique human being. The guys in our program and the guys that we would be looking to bring in as a transfer. So we really don't have any policy. And we are willing to look at every possible situation, more based on the individual himself and his family. Standardized rules, the transfer, what I would probably be informed enough right now when all I'm thinking about is Oklahoma. I'm not deep into this, but what I would probably be most informed to say is the players do have the right to choose where they want to play, just like we all as coaches have the right to go where we want to coach. So even though it hurts us and it hurts the game a little bit, giving the players that individual freedom and the student athletes is probably more important.
Continuing with questions for Coach Wright, and there's one on the right side of the room.
Hey, Coach. Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Sort of a two-parter here for you. Your use of zone defense, you've kind of been hesitant, I guess, over the years. Maybe that's the right word to use it.
Yes.
But you're using it this year. Why sort of that change philosophically? And second part, what does Oklahoma do that makes it difficult to use that zone defense?
I've had coaches that I really respect over the last few years. Billy Lang, my assistant, Baker Dunleavy, my assistant, Coach Massimino, Larry Brown, tell me you got to use some zone. Even if, because I really didn't, I thought it took away our aggressiveness. And Larry Brown convinced me, at least do it so you're good enough that you can practice against it. So that started a few years ago when he was with us. We would use it in practice a lot. But as we did it in practice, I started to find ways that we could still remain aggressive in it. And that's why we're using it now. It's taken me a while to learn how we can be aggressive. To answer your question about Oklahoma, the range that they can shoot the ball with, they play so far outside the three-point line that they almost, even though you're in a zone, you got to go out and guard them, and it makes you play man-to-man. You can say you're in a zone, but you got to go get those guys out there. And if you're going to get them, you're man-to-man. So they just spread you out so much.
We're going to go right to the middle. Bob?
Thanks, Mark. Bob Ford, Philadelphia Inquirer.
Hey, Bob.
Jay, have you had a guy this year on the scouting report like Buddy where as much attention has been given to him? You had players like Isaiah Whitehead who hurt you with some points, and Ben Bentel and so forth. But has anybody gotten as much attention in the scouting report as Held? And has he, I guess, is the question.
The guys that have gotten the attention like he has are Chris Dunn, Isaiah Whitehead, Ben Bentel. But what's unique about Buddy is I think he moves. I think he moves without the basketball at a speed and with a level of intelligence that no one else that we've played against does. I think that's what's going to make him a great pro. a lot of times the great college players have the ball in their hands all the time. He's so good, not just coming off screens without the ball, but he gets himself spaced away from the ball and he lulls you to sleep. He stands still. And then the burst of speed with which he comes back behind the ball, you just don't play against anybody like that. And we tried to have Eric Pascal simulate that when we were back home, and then Dante DiVincenzo. And watching it, they did a great job, but it's not the same. It's just not the same.
Coach, all the way in the back and all the way on the right.
Aaron Torres, Fox Sports. Coach, just a quick question. Based on the early tournament, falling out of the tournament early the last couple years, fighting for respect coming in, then you play Kansas. Now a lot of the focus is Buddy. We're at the Final Four. We're on the final weekend of the season. But do you still feel like you and your team are battling for a little bit of respect given everything that, all the other circumstances around this game?
I really don't. I feel like I think we've been given the respect we deserve. And I think that's one of the great things about college basketball. If you're successful in this tournament, you get respect, and if you're not, you don't. And we lived through that too, It's hard to come here to the Final Four, and the great job that the NCAA does promoting the teams and the players individually, which I think we haven't been here since '09, obviously. But the change in how they promote the players and all the great things they do for the players, I'm more worried that we're getting a little too much respect. I want to keep us humble.
On the left side, but to the right of the aisle, Mike.
Mike Vaccaro, New York Post.
Mike?
Jay, do you remember where you were in '85 watching Villanova do what they did? And not just as everybody else as a fan, but also as a young coach then, what you might have taken from watching that?
Yeah, that was probably the most inspirational moment of my coaching career, even though at that point I was a very young coach. I was the assistant coach at University of Rochester, Division III school, and I was also the assistant intramural director. So I was in Lexington for the semifinals. That was my first Final Four ever as a part of the National Association of Basketball Coaches. And it was overwhelming just to see all the big-time coaches. But I had to go back on Monday night because I had to run floor hockey for intramurals. That was my job. So I'd set up the floor hockey, and the guys that were playing floor hockey really didn't care about the national championship game. And I went to the women's soccer coach's house. I was single then. I was living in Rochester by myself, Terry Gurnett. And I sat on his floor and watched that game. Now, I had worked Villanova's basketball camps with Coach Massimino, so he was my idol. So to see a team just, make a dream come true like that and overachieve, it was magical. And, watching that, you just say as a coach, I would love to be able to do that. Never thinking you could do it at Villanova. You'd be at Villanova, but just to even coach or take a team to a championship against all odds like that, even if it's a league championship, it's something I always dreamed about. And I still think about it every day. Just talked to Coach Massimino 10 minutes ago, and every time I talk to him, that's what I think about.
On the right side, all the way up front.
Zach Johnson, Sports Illustrated Kids.
What's up, my man?
Congratulations on getting to the Final Four, Coach.
Thank you very much.
What do you do to keep your team up and positive when things aren't going your way?
That's a great question, Zach. We wear these attitude bracelets right here, and I'll give you one if you come up and see me afterwards, all right? And we have it on the wall in our practice facility. And there's not a lot of things on our wall, but that's up there. And we want our guys to understand in basketball that what you control is your attitude. You don't control whether your shot goes in or the referee's calls, but you control your attitude on the next play. And then we want them to take that into life, that things are going to happen to you in life that you can't control, but you can control every morning when you wake up. What's your attitude going to be? You're going to have a positive attitude. It's probably the biggest core value in our program.
Staying in that same area on the right side in the front.
Myron Patton, Fox in Oklahoma City. You played Oklahoma back in December. They won. What have you made the biggest strides that you think is going to allow you to win now in terms of just whether it's experience or whatever? What's the biggest change you think is going to allow you to win?
You know what? I think it just I think we've become a team closer to the team that we saw in Hawaii, the Oklahoma team. We were, as soon as that game started, we could see these guys are dialed in defensively, connected defensively, they share the ball offensively, and they have great shot selection. We were not good in any of those 4 areas at that time. Just had young guys. But we've always used that game and the respect for Oklahoma to keep trying to improve. But even as we got better, we would say to ourselves, okay, this is working here, but there's still a number 3, 2 team in the country, and they're getting better at it too. So we've got to continue to get better in those areas. I think we have gotten better. I think this game is going to be about how much better have they gotten and how much better have we gotten, how close are we now?
We're going to go to the back right. Wish a happy belated birthday to Jordan. Your question.
Coach Jordan Cornette, Campus Insiders. Everybody talks about your shoot-'em-up guards who spread the floor out and make it tough on the defense. Guy I'm really enamored with is your base down low, Chefu. Can you expand a little bit about his role and how important he is?
Thanks. Happy birthday, Jordan. You know, he's really been the key. We've always had great guards, you know, and great guards can win a lot of games for you, and you're not going to win in the tournament without great guards. But if you're ever going to have a chance to win a national championship, you better have a big guy that can control the paint, defensively protect the rim, offensively be a go-to guy that can score, make good decisions, meaning not turn the ball over, and make free throws. And that's what Daniel Chefu is. He's the guy, you know, even at the end of the year when we in the Big East tournament, he was injured, didn't play. We were okay. But once he got healthy to start this tournament, we were a different team. And he's really the key to our run. And we've always told big guys, you know, I'll give you a little recruiting pitch right here, but we've always told big guys, you want to come and play with these great guards, because if you're with these great guards, they're going to get you the ball, and they're not going to double team you, and you're going to be able to score. And he came for those reasons, and he gets it, and I just think that he's been the key to our success.
On the left side toward the front, Dick.
Jay, Dick Girardi, Philadelphia Daily News. I don't know if you've had any Daryl Reynolds questions before I got here, but we'll stay on the big man theme.
Attaboy, DJ.
Lower Merion's right around the corner from you, but he was getting no recruiting love from anybody through his high school years. And then he goes to prep school. When did you get involved? What did you see, and what have you seen?
We got involved with him late. He was in. We saw him in high school. Funny story. Lower Merion played Chester at Villanova for the district championship. Larry Brown was with us back then. We were sitting watching the game together, and he said, "There's all these great players." The lefty that went to Arizona, Rondé Jefferson was in the game, and Larry Brown said, "I like that guy." And he pointed at Daryl Reynolds. He said, "I just like that guy's body." And I said, "Yeah, you're right." You know, we kind of looked into him. They said he's going to prep school. So from that point, we started following him in prep school. And he is a great teammate, really intelligent in terms of how he approached his career. He's a really good player right now. He's just playing behind Daniel Chefu. He's going to be a really good player for us next year. And he's a classic example. If you're intelligent, you work hard, and you're patient, your time will come. I couldn't be happier for anybody on our team.
We're on the right side again, just to the left of the aisle.
Hey, Coach, lots of questions yesterday about depth perception on the elevated court in the big arena. There is some evidence that shooting percentages go down on these elevated courts, but is that aspect of it overblown? Are there enough other aspects that you feel like are really part of the equation?
Well, first thing is I thought we had a little advantage there, and I heard Buddy Hield say last night, I play outside all the time in the Bahamas, so it's the same for me. It's like, damn. That was a really good answer. You know, Matt, he was smart about that. It does, you know, we always played in the Dome in Syracuse. I think the way the NCAA has it set up this year, and we played at Ford Field in '09, and I don't remember if we got 3 days in there. I thought yesterday's practice was really vital. At the beginning, you could see we were a little off, but by the end of practice, I thought everybody was comfortable. We'll get in there again after this, and then we get in there again tomorrow. I really think by tomorrow night everybody's going to be fine. I really do. I just think once you get in there for a while, it's gonna make you comfortable.
In the back toward the right, Andy.
Thank you, Mark. Jay, in what way has Daniel improved and elevated his game over the course of his career to get to this point where you're saying he arguably could be one of your most important players?
You know, when you have a big guy like that, everybody tells you, you got to go to the big guy, you got to go to the big guy. And the big guy tells you that too, like, I got to get the ball. But if you go to a big guy and he turns the ball over sometimes, and when he gets fouled, he makes 1 out of 2, right? It's not efficient. You go to the big guys when they don't turn the ball over and they shoot a high percentage and they make free throws. Then it's really valuable. And it's taken him 3 years to get to that point. At the end of last year, he started to get there. But all this year, that's a real valuable big guy. And if you look at the NBA right now, there aren't a lot of guys like that. You know, Dwight Howard here is one of the best, but he still doesn't shoot free throws. So at the end of the game, you can't go to him. You know, we'll inbound the ball to Daniel Chefo at the end of the game and get him fouled. We have confidence with him on the foul line. That's a really valuable player. And there just aren't many guys like that in college basketball, and he has developed into that guy.
On the right side toward the front.
Coach, you've got one McDonald's All-American. Oklahoma has none. What does that tell you about recruiting and just
Oklahoma has how many?
They have none.
Right, okay. I thought you said 9. I'm sorry.
I thought you said 9 too.
Yeah, I think it's what you're seeing this year in college basketball. And I think it's just a unique year. Last night we had an event, CBS had an event where Buddy Hield, Michael Benajay, Ryan Archidiakono, and Marcus Page represented their team, sitting up there, 4 seniors, and experienced veteran guys that have developed into great players. And I really think that's the theme of this Final Four. And it's great for college basketball. And some years you see a bunch of McDonald's All-Americans that are freshmen and sophomores that just happen to be good enough to bring their teams here. That's good too. I don't think you have to pick one or the other. I think it's great that we have a year like this. You got those 4 guys leading their teams, 4-year guys, veteran guys who've really been coached and developed. I think all 4 of them are going to be very good pros because of their experience and their maturity. And I think you're going to see a great tournament because of the experience of these teams.
Toward the left side in the center.
Coach Mark Tracy from the New York Times. I was wondering, being a Philly guy, probably fairly in tune with the city's basketball heritage, you guys are obviously one of the best teams in college basketball this year. The Sixers have been a little less successful in recent years. And I was just wondering if you kind of sense from the mood of the city whether there's a thirst for some championship basketball and whether that's given an extra boost to the fan base in terms of pulling for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. More so than usual. In 2009, when we came to the Final Four, you could feel the city got behind us. And Philly's a unique city. You know, there's 6 Division I basketball schools. It's not like being in a state where you got 2 state schools. We're all on top of each other, and there's a lot of mixed breeding, and it's an intense college basketball town. It's hard for everybody to get behind one of the schools, but it's a pro town too. So because of the recent last couple years, they've been saying it all year. And everybody's been putting pressure on us, saying like, hey, you guys are Philly's hope. Do you feel the pressure, you know? We never really felt the pressure, but we can definitely feel it now. There's buildings in Philadelphia that have the lights going across the top, Nova, Final Four. It's pretty cool. And we would love to do it. We would love to do it for Philly. We'd love to bring a championship home to Philly, but we got to get past Oklahoma first. We can't even talk about that yet.
All the way back to the right.
Gary Parrish, CBS Sports. Jay.
Gary, I know who you are, but I can't see you.
I'm back here.
Gotcha, buddy.
It's been documented that your career at Villanova didn't get off to the best start. There were 3 hard years there, and you went into that 4th year with some maybe career pressure. And I'm just curious, if you'd have any advice for young coaches who are maybe going through that right now, who are going to enter next season in fourth year, fifth year with perhaps that same kind of pressure.
Well, I would say to a coach, identify where the pressure is coming from. There was definitely a lot of pressure from the outside, from fans, alumni, the media. One of my friends, Dana O'Neill, was our beat writer, and I remember sitting down with breakfast, and she said, "You know what I have to write, right?" I said, "Yeah, I know." She goes, "This is it. You could get fired at the end of this year." I said, "Yeah, I know you got to do it." That was all there. But from our administration, from our president, who was Father Dobbin at the time, Vince Nicastro, our AD, there was none. And I knew it. I knew I had to answer to it publicly, but they had told me, "We love what you're doing." So for any coach, I would say if you're communicate with your athletic director and your president. If they're okay, you're good. If the media says you're good and they don't say you're good, you better be careful. That's really the key.
All the way up front.
Villanova, Kate Anderson, The Wrangler Online.
Nice to meet you.
Villanova met Oklahoma early in the season and unfortunately fell to them. So I'm wondering, what has the team done since then to make sure those are not the results of tomorrow's game?
I think we learned a lot. I think we learned a lot from Oklahoma. You know, they were the team we wanted to be. You know, they were connected defensively. They were unselfish offensively. They had intelligent shot selection. It was just a great barometer for us all through the season. We had a lot of success during the season. We won our league championship, but we were always looking at that game and saying, okay, we won this league championship, but those guys are still out there, and we're not that good yet. So this is just in one sense, I'd rather not play them because I know how good they are. But in another sense, it's the perfect either ending for our season or next step, because we're going to see how much we've improved, because that was the team that really got us and we looked up to all year.
On the left side, all the way in the back.
Coach Jim Roop with Westwood One News. Daniel just said that it's been easy to stay focused because he's seen the inside of the bus, the inside of the hotel, the inside of the arena. So you've kept him pretty much on the straight and narrow. But is there anything about this Final Four, this process this year, that is unique from years past?
From when we were there? Yeah. Yeah, it's very different. You know, last time, you know, after we lost to North Carolina last time, I said, I've told these guys, I kind of apologize for the team to how we approached it. We took a lot of responsibility as a staff. And we've actually discussed it with these guys during the season. I've always said, if we ever get there again, it's not about enjoying the moment and the trip and all that, because once you lose the game, there's no enjoyment. So you're there to play the game. So I said, if we ever got the chance, we are going to stay focused. We're not going to let the distractions get to us, even though the distractions are positive distractions. And we've really done that so far. And I think that's part of the challenge of this tournament. If you can stay focused on basketball, when these guys go into the hotel, and what the NCAA has done, our hotel is beautiful. There are huge, bigger than lifestyle pictures of these guys all over the wall. You know, you're 18, 20 years old, you walk in and see that, it can get to your head. So we've really done a good job of staying focused so far. We had great practice this morning. Got to get through this today. This is part of our responsibility, have a good practice out there, and then we're going to lock down again, get ready to play.
As you can see, we're joined now by Ryan Arcidiacono and Daniel Ochefu. In addition to Coach Wright, we'll take questions for all three, and let's start on the right of the aisle with Mike.
Mike McCarron, New York Post. Jay, if I could follow up on that question, was it immediately after that loss to Carolina in 09 that you said that you thought that maybe you had done things that you needed to do differently if you got back, or did it take, you know, a couple months, couple of years, or just any kind of perspective before you realized that I want a second opportunity to do it a little differently?
Mike, it was in the middle of the game. You know, I was in the middle of the game. You're standing up there on a stage in front of everybody, and you could just see the focus in Carolina. I think they were there the year before. I'm not sure. But you could see the focus in those guys, and you could see our guys were just playing a game. And I knew, it was about 10 minutes into the game, I knew, I was like, I didn't get these guys ready. You know what, I just, obviously Roy had been there many times, they were ready. And they were playing on a completely different level than we were. We were there to play a fun game in front of a big crowd. So that's when I knew.
Staying on the left side with Dana.
Dana O'Neill at the ESPN. I was asking Arch about this earlier. In this game tomorrow, a lot of people are going to get their eyes dazzled by all the three-point shots with Buddy and Ryan and everyone. How critical will Daniel be for you guys tomorrow?
Very, and he's been very critical throughout this tournament for us. As I said earlier, we know we have a weapon. We have a weapon there. They know it. They know it, and they defended him well in Hawaii. I think he's gotten a lot better, but it's as I said earlier, it's a weapon when you can go to a guy, shoots a high percentage, doesn't turn the ball over, and if they foul him, he goes to the foul line. We want to use him.
On the right side toward the back, Andy.
Thank you, Mark. This is for Daniel. In what way do you think you improved the most to be able to be, as your head coach just said, maybe the most valuable player on the floor tomorrow night?
Definitely my defense and rebounding. When I was younger, I understood the concept of how important defense and rebounding was. I just wasn't physically able or have enough experience to do so. And now, this defense and rebound keeps me on the court for the most amount of time I could play. And when I'm playing with such great guards offensively, it's easy to catch the ball and go dunk or lay it up. But definitely, defense and rebound my defense has evolved and my rebound has evolved as well. And Coach Rice, very, very confident, keep me on the court when I'm not tired, and know that that's the first thing on my mind.
We're going to move up front on the right side.
This is for Jay, Ruben Frank, Comcast Sportsnet. Late in the season, you've used Daryl and Daniel together. It seems like a lot more than earlier. Other than Daniel's health, what's kind of led to that, and what do you like about going big like that?
You know what, Ruben? It's really been Daniel's health. It really has, because we wanted to do that from day one, and we actually tried it in the Virginia game a little bit when we played at Virginia, and then when Daniel was sick and injured, there were some of the games where we were playing him 3-4 minutes, getting what we could out of him, and then playing Daryl, and then. But at this time of year, when you play against these bigger teams that have great offensive rebounders, that's what I like in the tournament, having them both in there, and they're both smart enough offensively, as we talked about with Daniel. Daryl's doing the same thing now. Daryl makes free throws, he doesn't turn the ball over, and he shoots a high percentage, but he's just started to do that about halfway through this year. He's just developed, and a lot of his development comes from playing against Daniel every day. So against these better rebounding teams like Oklahoma, we like doing that.
All the way in the back on the right side.
Yeah, Chuck Culpepper from the Washington Post. Jay, when you have 4 guys who have triple-digit number of college games they've played, maybe what are some specific things that are maybe easier about day-to-day coaching?
That's the point that's most important. It's day-to-day. These guys are veterans. They come in every day prepared to work, never taking a day off. Every scouting report, we're in our 39th game, I believe. These guys are so dialed in on this scouting report, and then they demand it of everybody else. They know how to rest. They know how to eat properly. They set an example for everybody. When you have guys that have, the greatest thing about the seniors is they experience failure as a freshman, and then fought through it to finish the year in the NCAA tournament, and then a lot of success after that. It's really like having coaches on the floor and coaches in the locker room and coaches back in the dorm. It's really valuable.
All the way up front, all the way to the left.
Jay, Steve Futterman from CBS News. I wanted to ask you, obviously any team that gets to a certain point, you want them to be at their best, the best they've been playing the entire season, whether it's baseball, whatever. How do you feel your team is right now prepared to enter this semifinal game?
I think if I compared this team to any of our other teams that have made runs, I think this team is best positioned, given all the variables, to be playing their best basketball right now. better than we've played at any other time during the year. And a lot of it's because of Daniel's health. A lot of it is because we have younger guys that have really gotten better and played a lot of games and a lot of big games. And a lot of times there are variables that affect that. You might be playing great, but one of your best players is injured, so you're not playing your best. I think we're definitely playing our best.
And Ryan, from your perspective, can you take that as well from a student athlete?
Yeah, I think. What was the question again?
At this time of year, do you feel that the team is playing the best that it has?
Oh
also?
yeah, yeah. I think we were playing well coming into the Big East tournament, and then we didn't start the game off strong against Seton Hall, and I think that was a big wake-up call for us. We got back to work after that week, and we just been getting better every single day in practice, and in the games too. We've just improved on the little things, and hopefully we got like Coach said, we got better today, and hopefully we can carry it over to tomorrow.
We have time for one or two more questions for any of our student athletes or for Coach Wright. If you have a question, please raise your hand. There's one all the way to the left and all the way to the back. Sierra's on her way.
Yeah. Hi, Coach. Jerome Solomon from the Houston Chronicle. You talked about doing it differently this time than before. Is there something specific that you denied or didn't allow your players to do that you probably would have a few years back for this particular trip?
The basic concept is I talked to them last time about enjoy the experience, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, go out and see everything, just take it all in. And then when we get together for our meetings and our film sessions, we'll shut it down and we'll concentrate. I had no idea when I said that, how big it all was. And that was 7 years ago. It's significantly bigger now. So when we got together, we were all trying. We just couldn't get back focused again. So this time we're just trying to stay together, eat all our meals together, stay in the rooms together. We got here early, hung out in the locker room together, rather than hanging out with our families and friends and taking everything in. We're here to play a basketball game Saturday, and let's make sure we're at our best Saturday. That's what we're trying to do.
We'd like to thank Coach Wright and Daniel and Ryan for joining us here in the main interview room and wish you guys luck tomorrow evening.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you.